Good morning, Year 4. I hope you had a brilliant Tuesday evening and you're ready for your Wednesday's maths lesson. So, like on Monday and Tuesday, grab a pencil or a pen and some paper and get ready for your quick maths starter. So I will share my screen with you now. Here are your questions. Pause the video now to have a go. And here are your answers. Pause the video now to mark yourself. So brilliant work to those of you who've done it. Well done. I hope you did really, really well. And send a message on the blog or give us an email if you get a bit stuck on those, but hopefully you should know those from our previous topics. So without further ado, let's start with our decimals. So as you know, just as a quick recap from Monday, this is our whole, because we have our, if this was a cake, it'd be cut into 100 pieces, as we know from our denominator, as it's 100. So that says how many parts it's into. And 100 as our numerator says that we have 100 parts. So we have all of those parts. This is our whole one. And we write this in our place value as 1. Just 1 in our ones, because we only have one of these. Our tenths, this is 1/10. So we would need 10 of these in order to make one whole, as you can see at the bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So we would need 10. And we write it by writing 1 as our numerator and 10 as our denominator, say 1/10. With fractions, it's good to read it out loud so you can visualize it. So 1/10, and it can be written, I might make that a bit bigger for you, as 0.1, because we should know in our place value, this is our ones column to the left of our decimal point, and then to the right of our decimal point is our tenths. And we only have 1/10, so that is 1/10. And we count up like this. So we have 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, and we can write them as fractions as well. So have a try, pause the video. How would you write this as a fraction? Welcome back. So as you can see, I've given you some examples to help you. If that's 2/10, 2/10, this is 7/10, and we know it's our tenths because that's our place value. In our place value, that's our decimal point. To the left is our ones, and to the right is our tenths. So this is 7/10, 7 our tenths. And because it's in the tenths, we know that there's going to be a 10 as our denominator and a 7 as our numerator, because there's 7 digit in there. And it's 7/10. Now let's look at hundredths. So these are even smaller than tenths, and these are worth just one block of these. So we talked about in money yesterday. And if £1 is worth 100 pence, just like there's a 100 blocks, so each of these could be worth 1 pence, so that's 1 whole pound. And we need 100 pence in order to make £1. For 1/10, we have 10 pence because we have 10 penny blocks. And we'd need 10 10p coins in order to make 100 pence or £1. Just one block, so 1 pence, could be our 1 pence coin. And this is just one of the 100 we split our pounds into. So we are right, because this is just one, as you can see, just one that I've taken away from my whole. So it's part of a whole. There's my numerator as 1 and 100th, because this is one of the 100 pieces that I've split up, 100th. And remember, I write in my place value chart after my decimal to show that it's part of a number, it's not a whole number. And I write it in my hundredths column, which is next to the right of my tenths. So we have 100ths. I don't have any tenths because you can see I only have one block. So let's write a placeholder there. Keep my decimal point in the same place, and I don't have any ones because, as you can see, I don't have any ones. So 100th, 100th. Remember, if it's 100th, it's got 100 on the bottom of the denominator. It can also be written in the decimal as 0.01. And you can move it up like this. So we've got 0.01, 0.02, or 100, 200, 300, 400, 500, 600. And we write it similarly to how we write tenths. So we have our 100th at the bottom because we know this is 100th, and 1 because we only have one of those hundredths as our numerator. So how do you think you write this number in a fraction? Or this decimal? So because it's 100th, we know it's 100 because we've got our decimal point here. To the left, we have our ones. To the right, we have our tenths. And to the right of our tenths, we have our hundredths. So we know it's in our hundredths because there's a digit in our hundredths column. So we would put 100 at the bottom. How many hundredths do we have? Well, let's look at our column. We have 5. We have 5 of those 100 points. So 5 hundredths. If we read it out loud, 5 hundredths. Let's look and see how many hundredths we have here. So this is our whole, remember, because there's 100 parts. And we have 1, 2, 3 of those parts, which I've written here. We have 3 parts. And these are each worth 100th. So I've written 100th at the bottom as my denominator because it's 100th. And I have 3 of those hundredths. So 3 is my numerator. In my place value columns, I've written them out, making sure to keep the decimal point in the same place. And I can see that I have 3 hundredths, but I don't have any tens. Because how many hundredths do you think would need to make 1 10? So if we think about this, this is similar to money. So remember how our hundredth is like 1 pence and our tenth is like 10 pence. And we would need 10 pennies, 10 1p coins in order to make a 10 pence. So we would need 10 hundredths. But we don't have any groups of 10. So we have no tenths and no ones. Have a look at this one here. Pause the video to have a try. Brilliant. So I've helped you out here by circling some, but we have 18 hundredths. Let me write that. 18 hundredths. So we know that we have a group of 10. As you can see, when we look, we have a group of 10. So let's partition that. So we have one group of 10. And then what do we have left over when we've got 10? We've got 8. So 10 add 8 equals 18. And we know that this 10 is worth 1/10. And we write 1/10 like so. 1/10 because we know that. We know our 8 is still in the hundredth. So we write in the hundredth form. And we have 8 of those hundredths because we don't have 10 to make another tenth. So if we add these two together, so 0.1, 1/10 adds 8 hundredths, it would look like 0 in our ones because we have no ones. We keep the decimal place in the same place. Then we're moving on to our tenths column, which remember is to the right of the decimal. So we have 1/10 here, but no tenths here. So we write our tenth there. Then we don't have any tenths because there's nothing in this section for our hundredths, but we have 8 here. So we write 8. So putting in our place value, so it'd be 0.18. How do you think we write this as a fraction? So we would write this as a fraction. So we know this is in the hundredths. So we put 100 on the bottom, and we have 18 of those hundredths. So here are some true or false questions. Pause the video to have a see if you think they're true or false. Welcome back. Here are your answers. You can pause the video to have a try. So with this one, I'll go through this one really quickly. You can see if we put in our place value columns, we've got our decimal point, then our tenths, then our hundredths, and both of them. And we can see they still have only 1 in their hundredths. And this one here, it doesn't matter that there's a 0 there because that just shows there's nothing there. So we don't need that. So they're both the same number. They're both worth 100th. Brilliant work. So here is your to-do for today. So you're going to be looking at ones that that have been shaded and converting them into a fraction like we did and then into a decimal. So have a count. And remember to make sure you check to see how many groups of 10 there are. See how many groups of 10 there are to see how many tenths there are. And then you have to shade in your own. And remember, it's easier if you put in your place value columns if you get a bit stuck. But I hope you enjoyed today's work and I look forward to marking it.